talking about there, you know, they play 3-4-3, yes, but they play different systems, you know, within it. Do you think, though, that Glasner is just getting more out of the 3-4-3 than Amorim?
Well, I can't speak highly enough of Glasner in terms of what he's done at Crystal Palace, because Crystal Palace traditionally are a 10th place team, you know, in the Premier League, 10th, 12th, and that's really where they are. He's taken them above that. They won the Cup last year. His consistency of performance he gets out of individuals is unbelievable. But he does happen to have a good set of tools. The players he has are absolutely terrific in the positions he plays them. And that's the difference between Crystal Palace and Man United. They're really kind of nailed on their wing-backs. They are definite wing-backs. The three centre-backs play as three centre-backs should. And the midfield has a nice balance to it, with Walton pulling the strings. So, you know, I would make Crystal Palace heavy favourites in this game, even though Manchester United are coming to town.
Yeah. Roberto, looking back at the game against Everton, Man United fans were so frustrated with that. And they felt that there was that stubbornness. You know, Everton go 10 men down, you want to see a manager attack, right?
Yeah, understandably so. I mean, if you're 11, we be 10 and you're playing at home as well. So, but I've watched Amorim's team many times when he was a Sporting, you know, out in Portugal, and he went there, and I think he lost one game in 18 months or something like that. So he's a very good manager. He's very well prepared. He's got a deep knowledge of the game, and he's come to United, and he hasn't really found his team yet. You know, he keeps changing the personnel. It just doesn't seem to have found that connection as well with the fans, with the team.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure what the problem really is, because he's a fantastic manager. So he hasn't really clicked yet for Amorim in England, and it's difficult to see, you know, what he's trying to do, because it just doesn't find the consistency in the results, and especially in the performances to get the results.
Yeah, he's been here a year now. You know, it was 12 months when they played that Everton game. Did it shock you a little bit, Alan, watching it go at them?
I was surprised that, you know, that they didn't have certainly more chances and create more pressure. You know, that's one thing that Manchester United have always done at home. They create pressure. They don't let you out as you try to absorb the pressure and find a release on a counter-attack. They snuff it out and come again and come again. They never got any kind of momentum like that. And they're against 10 men. And Everton's midfield were exceptional on the night. But it did show some kind of glaring deficiencies in Man United's midfield. And it's particularly that lack of kind of energy. And I think he has some problems in the team. I think at the back they're not solid. I think in midfield they lack energy. I think at the top of the pitch they're actually quite good. But, you know, there's a lot more football before you get to the front of the pitch. And that's where they struggle.
Well, that's the thing. Obviously they spent so much money. There was so much expectation on them. Do you think, Roberto, there's that danger that potentially Rúben Amorim's kind of stubbornness, let's say, to stick to that formation could put him into hot water?
I don't think so, no, because I think the board or the people that make the decision at Man United, they recruited him and they backed him up, and he's only been there, it's been there a year, but it's only a year. And if we look at, you know, Arsenal is now top of the league, if we want to take that example, you know, Arteta, the first 2-3 years, he really struggled to find the right players for the right system and so on and so on. So, you know, it takes time. I know it's a cliche, but unfortunately that's what it is. You know, you can't just think that overnight you're gonna resolve all the problems that you have, and by changing a manager. You know, so I think they should stick with him. They should give him the time. I know it's a big club, and United supporters and fans all around the world, they expect more. The last game was not very good. I think we all agree on that. You know? But in general, I think you can see that there is progress. I think you can see that they are going in the better direction, in the direction that the manager wants them to go. And the manager that is stubborn, I don't think that's actually a negative aspect of a character of a manager, because he sticks to his guns. That's what I know. That's what I do best. and he's proven it in Portugal as well.
Yeah.
And I like the honesty he has in the press conference. You know, sometimes you get criticised because you don't say enough or you don't say the truth. He speaks the truth. He says exactly how it is, and I like that.
Yeah. He's very good in those press conferences, as we say. Well, look, we're approaching crunch time in Jean-Philippe Mateta's future now. His current deal has 18 months to run, and there have been no talks with Palace about a new one. Whatever happens with Mateta, his boss Oliver Glasner wants reinforcements up front.
I think we need to. Ismaila also will leave us. So he's the only player who makes runs in behind from our taste, the profile. Yeah, I think we just have to have this profile again, because also the other players on the bench, they are a different profile, and we need players to stretch the defense, and I hope that we will get it done.
It's interesting how keen Glasner is to get some reinforcements in. Understandably, he's going to lose Sarr to AFCON, etc. But how important is it to keep Mateta, I'm going to say, Alan? Because if you look at it in terms of stats, right, especially this season, of all the players in the Premier League who have scored 5 goals or more, Mateta is the only one to be underperforming his expected goals. And what have you made of his performances this season?
Well, firstly, let's say, as a striker, I like him because his presence and everything else. But his personality kind of overrides everything. He's really loved by the fan base and loved by the team. He's just got that way about him that kind of attracts attention. He's like a Disney character as a centre forward. But he does miss chances, and his expected goal, that doesn't shock me. You know, he's always missed chances at Crystal Palace. When he first arrived, actually, it was really like disappointing, like massively disappointing to a degree. And then he started finding some confidence, started getting some goals, but he still misses big chances. And I think Palace will do a new deal with him. I think it'd be good for Palace to keep him, and I think it's good for him actually to stay where he is. I think he's performing very, very well there, and he's perfect for the way they play. He's such a huge presence that you can feed off him. And if you look at his lack of goals, you could say, okay, that's an issue, but all the other things that he does for the team are very important.
Yeah, Roberto, do you think it's tough with a player like Mateta, because as Alan said, great guy, you know, but it still does get some fantastic goals, helps with how they play, but then Oliver Glasner might have that pressure from the board being like, well, he's underperforming and we don't know whether or not to give him his contract. You know, as a manager, do you feel like you need to step in at that point and say, keep him?
Well, my understanding is that everybody would like for him to stay there, and the manager as well. So I'm not sure. I don't think that's an issue right now. But as a manager, you're happy if your striker is scoring. You know, if you're sitting comfortably in the table as well, so you're quite happy. And yes, he does miss big chances, absolutely. But I agree that it suits the way the team plays. It suits his style. And he must be in a nice environment, a good environment. And I think he still has some margin to improve as well. And he might become a better scorer, you know, he might convert more of the chances.